Hello, and thank you all for vibing in the cloud with Natina Michelle on weekly show AWS Cloud, the basics on Cloud Sesh podcast. Okay, guys, thank you all for joining me. Today is our first day of the demo sesh. Yay! Okay, I'm sorry for that. I know my effects aren't that great, but maybe in the future we'll have some here for you guys. Okay, but anyways, we're here really to get some understanding, some basic information about identity and access management. So let's go ahead and get right on into it, guys. All right, so I'm signed into my AWS management console. Now, if you don't have an AWS account, please go ahead and go on over to aws.amazon.com and make sure you sign up for a free 12-month tier account, okay? And what I mean by that is that AWS is allowing new users to use AWS resources for free for 12 months, okay? And those resources will be listed if it's a free tier, all right? All right, so I'm logged in. So now what we're going to do, this is the, of course, the home page of the AWS Management Console. And here, you can go in, you see a lot of different services here. If you don't see the list of services, you can click on all services. And then you have all of the services here. And AWS has so many services. Oh my God. But a lot of their services are really tight. I really like them. Some of them I've actually have done hands-on labs with them. So you guys can just go through and just start picking stuff you think is interesting to you and just start doing some quick little tutorials. That's what I would do if I was you guys. But anyways, we're here to talk about identity and access management. So let's just jump right on into it. Okay, so up at the top where you're going to find services, you're going to type in IA&M. Click on enter. And this is just a brief discussion about the identity and access management portion of the console. So if there is, if you want to learn more, I'm definitely going to put a link here so you guys can find that information. There also is other resources out there that you can use to start learning about identity and access management, especially if you're ready to start studying for your AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner exam. If you want to know that information, you definitely can email me, and I'll be happy to share those resources with you, okay? All right, anyways, back over to the management console, okay? So we typed in the AIM. Now we're at the Identity and Access Management console, all right? And so over to the left, well, actually what you see here in my page may be different from yours. Especially if your page is new and you haven't created any users or roles or anything like that. You may see some green check marks over here, and then maybe you may have some warning signs over there. If you have warning signs, those are things that you need to complete in order to make sure that your root account is secure. Okay, so right now I'm not logged into my root account. All right, but it would be the same steps as if this was my root account. So you're in your root account. So what you want to do is make sure is that you have your MFA activated on the root account, which you guys can see that is on mine. And AWS will take you through the steps on making sure your account is secure. So you're activate the multi-factor authentication. That's your two-step authentication. So, and I discussed this on Tuesday's episode of Identity and Access Management. The multi-factor authentication is where you set up two-step authentication. So if you're logging into this AWS console, you'll put in your username, you'll put in your password, and then you'll use Google Authenticator. Go there, and then it shows you some numbers. You put the numbers in. Or you can set up a token, and that token has numbers on it that's connected to your account. Put those numbers in, and there you go. You have your two-step authentication. All right. So then also the next thing you will do is create individual IA&M users. All right, so we are going to go ahead and go through that really quickly. All right, so if you was to click on manage users and you had other people, if you were a business and you wanted other people to have access to the AWS resources, then you would create a user to be able to access that. All right, so what needs to be done is you need to determine, what this user is going to have access to, because you don't want them to have access to every single thing in the console unless they're an admin or something like that. So you definitely want to practice least privilege here as well, and we discussed that as well on Tuesday very briefly. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it really quickly. So if you want to add a user, you'll just go in, click on add user. I'm just going to put in a fictitious user, test user. Okay, and then you have two options here that you can choose from. You can choose from programmatic access. This enables access key ID and secret key access for the AWS APIs, CLIs, SDKs, and other development tools. And for this one, if you want the user to be able to access the AWS command line, and I know that we have not discussed that on this show yet, which we will do in the future coming up. But the AWS command line, if you're familiar with the command prompt on like Windows or the terminal on Mac, you can actually go into an AWS command line and launch things and do different things within the command line. So you want to give access to a user who may need to do that. All right, I'm not going to get into SDKs because honestly, guys, I'm still learning about the SDKs. All right, I'm just keeping real with y'all. I don't know much about SDKs, but eventually we all gonna learn this together. Okay. So the next one is the AWS Management Console access, and this is just going to enable a password that allows users to sign into the AWS Management Console, okay? So I'm going to just go ahead and give this user the top access, and then I'm going to go next to permissions, all right? So here, the reason why you do see administrators or administrator access, because I did create an IA&M user before, and for myself, and I have given myself admin access. So you can do the same. So you'll just give admin access, or we would have to actually create permissions for the user. All right, so let's just go in here real quick. So we're gonna not copy, I'm sorry, we're gonna go, let's do attach existing policies. So let's click on that. So here you have your different policies, and we have not been over policies either, but I just went over them very briefly on Tuesday's show, okay? All right, so what you would do here, you could just type in admin or administrator, and then that stuff will pop up. And it was already here, so you didn't really see anything, but I'm going to do administrator access because I want the user to have access to the entire console. I want them to be able to see everything that the root user would see. So I'm going to give them the same permissions, but you definitely can, go in and actually choose different levels of permissions for the different users. Okay, but that's not the class that we're going to really go into for you to go and deep dive into, but you definitely can go ahead and do some research and find out that information. But we're just going to go ahead and give a complete admin access. Then we're going to click on next. Okay, I'm not going to add any keys or any values. I'm just going to click on review. All right, and we have our test user. They have their access. They have access with keys, and we haven't talked about keys either, but we will. I'm sorry, guys, but this is a very basic show, so we're doing everything in a particular order. All right, so we definitely will be talking about access keys as well, because access keys, they allow you to be able to SSH into AWS resources on the command line. So you can use access keys for those. And there's some other things you can use access keys for as well. So we're just going to go ahead and create the user. All right, so we see that our user has been created. And see here, I probably shouldn't even show y'all this. Well, this, you can see this access key, but there's a secret access key, right? If I click show, I'm only going to be able to see it one time, because this is the access key that this user would use if they needed to, do the command line thing and stuff like that, okay? So I'm not going to even show it because we're not going to really use it. But if you did want to see it, you'll just click on show. Make sure you save it in a secure location, so that way you'll have access to it when it's time. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on close. All right, so now you see we have our second user here. And I did not put them in a group, so that's my bad. But I did give them admin access, so I'm not... Okay, so here it is. It's showing administrator access. So they do have the access. I just didn't add them to the group. So I can add the user to the group, and I'm going to add him to the administrators group. All right. And this was a group that was already pre-set, so that wasn't a good example for you guys. I'm so sorry. But that's just how easy it is to just put users into groups that's already created. But once this thing has done attaching permissions, I wanted to show you all how to... Okay, here it is. I wanted to show you all how to create a group as well. So we've added a user in a group, which is kind of backwards. But we're just going to go ahead and create a group, which is fairly easy. If you go over to the left, you'll see groups, users, roles, policies, identity providers, account settings. All right. So if we was to go to groups, we'll just click on create new group. Then you will put in the group name. Then you can go down and click on next step. Then you would choose the policies that this user will have access to. So like before, they had access, we gave the users access to administrator access. So they have access to everything. But if you look down, it's so many different things that you can look for to give these users access to. So if you only wanted someone to just have access to, let's say Beanstalk, you could just give them access to that. If you wanted them to just have Lambda full access, you can give them access to that. CloudWatch. It's so many different things, policy type here that you can give access to for users. So that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna just keep it real basic. I'm just gonna click on administrator access. I'm gonna hit on next, and then boom, you can see we have the test user. They have their policies with the AWS information there. All right, for the policy access. All right, and you can also edit it, as you can see, but we're not going to. And then we can create the group. So now I have another group here, as you can see. All right, and then I can easily delete that as well. So if I go to check on it, group actions, delete group. All right. So that was pretty easy. So let's just go back to the access management users. Okay. Excuse me, not users, account settings. And once we go here, we can see where we can actually set up password policies here. Okay. Because we all know that having a password to log into your account is very important to have your account secured. And then you just want to make sure that, users aren't using the same passwords over a certain amount of time. You can choose how long you want that the users have to have their passwords to be. You can choose how frequently the users can use the same password. It's a few different options in here for you to secure your accounts, and as well as implement a password policy for your users too. Okay. All right. So if you guys want, just get in here, and play around creating your password policies for your IA&M users. All right. And then, well, we don't have anything here for identity providers, but if you did want to have some type of, let's say you wanted users to have some type of maybe like single sign-on, like Google authentication, something like that, you can go here and use that. Now, I don't know much about configuring this, so I'm not even going to go into it with you all, because I don't want to give you guys the wrong information, because I have not really touched that part of the AWS console, right? I just really basically go in. I just only have been in, created a root account, given access, admin access to users, and then that's really it. But it's just so much more that you can do for your roles. You can give access to different services, to be able to perform different functions within the AWS VPC once you launch different resources and stuff like that. So it's a lot, and just with the amount of information that you guys can know, unfortunately I can't give you all that. You probably want to just go ahead and go to a resource that I definitely can share with you all to go ahead and learn more on securing your AWS account and just learning a little bit more about identity and access management, because what I'm saying is not even half of what identity and access management is here in the AWS console. All right, so that was pretty much it for the demo, guys. Pretty quick. So I would definitely say go ahead and just play around in the console for a little bit. If you're not sure about something, I would definitely, AWS has plenty of documentation on how to use their services, and just giving you information on how everything works within AWS. So I hope you guys enjoyed this very quick demo sesh here. If you guys have any questions or comments, please email cloudsesh@gmail.com. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this demo sesh. Peace.